Working Man Investor. Today's video is going to be understanding what kills wealth and what builds wealth. Understanding the difference between an asset and a liability is the core to financial education. An asset is anything that puts money into your pocket. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Far too many people view their house that they live in as an asset when it's actually a liability. The house you're living in isn't making you any money. In fact, it's costing you money every single month with the mortgage payment. This is because even if the property appreciates and it goes up in value, that's just trapped equity. It might improve your net worth, but it doesn't give you any money to invest at the end of the month. The only way to get that money out is to, one, sell the property. Now you got to find a new place to live. Or two, take out like an equity line of credit, and then you're paying an interest rate on that money. So I want you to start thinking about your house differently. Start thinking about it as a liability and not an asset. Because even if you pay that house off, it's still going to cost you money. There's still property taxes. There's still insurances. There's still going to be repairs. You're still going to want to upgrade it at some point. So if you look at your home as a liability and not an asset, it'll change your mindset. This means you will start to live a little bit smaller. You won't waste money on unnecessary things like hot tubs and swimming pools for your house, and you'll look towards putting that money into assets, things that make you money and put money in your pocket every single month. Next to taxes, people's homes are their biggest expenses. What I want people to start looking at is their finances from the top down. Look at your biggest expense and start looking at what you can do there to cut back. This will save you thousands of dollars a month and make your investments and earning potential much more scalable. What I mean by that is a lot of people, when they start to cut back, what do they look to do? They start to make coffee at home. They take one vacation instead of two, or call their insurance company and ask for them for a cheaper rate. Those are all good things to do, but if you don't buy the big house that you can barely afford to start with, you start off in a smaller home, you're going to have thousands of dollars at the end of the month, and you can still take that vacation every year and still have money at the end of every month to invest. So start looking at your money from the top down. Everybody teaches from the bottom up. Make coffee at home, things like that. Look at it both ways and decide which way is best for you. Personally, I like the top down. The next wealth killer is your car payment. Car payments are your third biggest expense behind taxes in your house. The average car payment for a new vehicle in the United States as of the making of this video is $742 a month. That's almost $9,000 a year. So this isn't going to be popular, but what if instead of buying a brand new car, because you don't want to make Mercedes or BMW rich, you want to make yourself rich, you just buy a quality used car at a cheaper rate, and if you can, pay cash for it when you're just starting off, because all you need is a vehicle to get you to point A to point B. Again, I understand this won't be popular, but the goal is to one day have a bunch of really nice things and be able to afford it, not just have a bunch of really nice things and look like you can afford it, which is what a lot of people in this country do. A lot of people are just living off of credit. And if they're one pink slip away at their job away from losing everything, you do not want to be the person that lives like that. And in order to not be that person, you need to make sacrifices, like buying that used car that is functional and gets you to point A to point B, but is not your dream car. Getting that nice house, but not your dream house. You still want to work towards that. You still want to set that as your goal, but maybe not do that right off the bat. You want to wait until you have assets, appreciating, making money every month, growing your wealth. I'm not saying I want you to live in a shack and drive a beat-up car for the rest of your life. I want you to think about finances from the top down, cut back on the more expensive stuff. This will save you thousands of dollars every year, and again, make your investing and wealth building much more scalable. It is better to have that smaller house and not so nice of a car and save thousands of dollars a year than it is to be one pink slip away from losing everything. It's better to do any of that and just cut back on Starbucks and eating out and vacations. You take this extra money and you put it into assets, stocks, bonds, crypto, rental properties, private money loans to real estate investors that'll pay you interest for letting you use their money, all things that generate wealth. Make your money work for you. You work hard enough for your money, make it work for you. The third area where I see a lot of people lose money This comes after they've started to buy some assets and they're starting to build their wealth. They become cheap. So what do I mean by that? Well, in order to really build wealth, at some point you're going to start to need to build a team. So you're going to have to, if you get rental properties, you might want to get a property manager to manage that property for you. I use a property manager simply because it allows me to have more free time to do other activities that generate income and, of course, to spend time with my family. The average fee that property managers charge in my area is 10%. I'll see people that will only want 8% or 6%, and the top property managers in the areas aren't going to go for that. Ones that are either just starting out and lack experience, or ones that are not very good will accept that. But in turn, what do these people do? They often hire weaker contractors that are cheaper and do cheap work. So you end up paying for repairs on things twice. I've seen property managers that charge less do things like put a new light fixture in your home that's actually not new, it's used, that they took from another property, and then charge you as if it's a new one and pocket the money. I've heard at real estate investor meetups, I've walked around and people don't know that I'm a landlord myself and could possibly in the future be looking for a property manager. And I've heard property managers say to each other, I want to fee the owners to death. I don't even want to manage their property if I can't take the majority of their money in fees. These are the people that will charge you 6%, but they'll hit you with fees for everything else. A lot of these property managers that are charging 10% are better. They have repairmen and staff that are qualified and insured and will go repair a property for you that's damaged, and they can usually do it at a cheaper rate because they're not contractors, they're in-house repairmen. And they'll have relationships with tradespeople, like electrician, if you need a big electrical work done, or a plumbing job done. They'll have relationships with these plumbers and electricians that'll give you a cut on the fee because this property manager is constantly throwing work to them. So that in turn saves the owners money. The other way I see people being cheap with their public accountants, they'll try to do their taxes themselves and they'll miss a bunch of deductions. If you have rental properties and if you're buying paper assets like stocks and you lose some money, some of that's a write-off. If you don't know the tax laws and you try to do your taxes yourselves because you don't want to pay somebody to do it, you could miss so many deductions that they would get that you could end up costing yourself money by trying to save money. I use a certified public accountant, and he is worth his weight in gold to me. Not only does he, again, free my time up to focus on other things, but whenever I get something from the state, which is not that uncommon, happens 2 to 3 times a year, I'll get a letter from the mail about taxes. I can take a picture of it, text it to my accountant, and just say, hey man, what is this? What do we need to do here? He'll look it over within a half hour and he'll get right back to me and be like, okay, this is what they're saying. Don't worry about it. Or this is what they're saying that's changing with the laws. I will prepare the forms and email it to you. Then I print out the forms and do exactly what he says. If I get confused when filling out the forms or doing anything, I shoot him a text. He'll call me and walk me through it. I don't spend hours researching it or on the phone with the state. This frees me up to work my W-2 job unstressed, to pursue other avenues of revenue unstressed, and to spend time with my family unstressed. So these are just a few of the things that you can do and that I see people doing that actually hurts them when building wealth instead of helping them. So that's what I got for you today. Nice quick video. Working man investor. Keep grinding, people.